Okay, guys, I'm going to show you how to cut this 2x4, um, how to mark it before I cut it. Uh, it's not as easy because you see that I've replaced a 2x4 um, around my storage house, and to cut it before I replace another one is it's not simple as you think, because first of all, it's all the way down here, and you have to, I have to hold that saw to cut it, which is not easy. Okay, you gotta cut it in a persistent cut, straight. If you cut it cricket like I did on some of the area, then I have to fix it. Like this one, I did okay, I did good, but this one right here, that's kind of cricket. And I cut it on the it's on the top too. Like I cut it high too, and I still didn't do a good job. But that was my first cut during the whole project of this house, this storage house. That's why I did terrible on the first one. Even though it's look easy, it's longer, it should be easy because it's on the top. But I did worse than the second one, which is in the bottom here. you know the second one was in the bottom, and I did even better because it's straighter cut. So it's about experience and how many times you work on it. If you your first time, of course it's gonna look like this right here if it's your first time. So my second time was better, and this is gonna be the third time I cut this 2x4 to replace some of the molding area, like right there. So this is going to be the third cut of the 2x4, and I'm going to show you how to mark before you cut it. You don't just, draw a line across it and cut it, because your line might be crooked. Just like this one. My first one, the line was kind of crooked or so, but I redraw it to make it straight again, but it's still not straight cut. So you got to keep practicing like I did. So this is the third 2x4 I'm going to cut. I'm going to show you how to mark it, okay? To mark it is use a ruler. Like out here, I already know where I'm gonna cut it. I already got the mark of the line where I'm gonna cut it, as you can see. So depending on how much you want to cut, you see right here, I want to cut up to about 8.5 inches to get this ugly part out the way. So I'm gonna cut up to here, which is about 8 or 9 inches. So I gotta measure from down here, you see. Let me get the ruler out here. I'm kind of hold it, at an angle. It's hard to make a video, but I did it. I'm doing it for you guys anyway. So I measure from down here, from the 2x4 down the ground here, up to wherever the line I want to cut it. Let's say 8.5. Let's turn this ruler around. Okay. All right. This is the right way. All right. About 8.5, where I needed to cut, where I wanted to cut, like right here somewhere. 8.5, right? So I mark the mark right there, and I draw a line for that one already. Now I need to do the same thing with this 2x4 that I want to cut. 8.5 inches, right? So I just measure from down here to 8.5 inches, just like that. See that? Okay. Then I marked it. I marked 8.5 inches right there with a marker. Okay, right here with a marker. Just mark a little line right there first. So at that point, you haven't drawn a line yet like this, okay? And then go over here and use the same thing, same technique, same ruler, and just measure it from down here at the 2x4. You really don't want to measure from out here in this little wood, because that's not right, because it's cricket. It's like one size all the way on the top, one size all the way on the bottom. So this is not the right place to measure it to get your height, whatever you need to cut. You need to measure from down here at this 2x4 down the ground right here, okay? So next thing, I want to make a second marker at the 8.5 inches. Just measure 8.5 inches, just like that, and mark the little line right there, okay? After I got two marked line, I'll go ahead and use the same ruler or whatever straight, and just make a line just like that, okay? So that's how I make my straight line, by doing that. Same thing you see I'm doing here, okay? Use the ruler, 8.5 inches from down here, 8.5 inches, and just just make that mark right there first. Do the same thing over here, 8.5 inches. Make a mark right there so I can draw a straight line. Same thing with back here. I'm gonna do in a little bit. I haven't do it yet because I'm thinking about cutting it from the outside in. And the reason I haven't drawn it yet because this is on the way. So I'm probably gonna have to cut this from the outside first. You see that line I already made to cut that piece of board, siding board from the outside? Yeah, I'm gonna cut that line first. See that line out there? Yeah, I'm gonna cut that line first to get this wall out, this ugly siding out. Then I'm gonna make a marker to mark a line right here to cut this complete cutting this piece of 2x4 after that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna end up cutting from the outside, cutting this 2x4 from the outside, and cut it, cut that piece of siding too, all the way out there from the outside. Okay, using that saw right there. If any problem, I'm gonna have to use the sander whenever I need to. So that's what I'm gonna use to cut this part over here. Okay, this is what I've been doing the whole time, guys. For this over here, same thing, 2x4. The sand technique I used to replace these 2x4 yesterday during the previous video. Okay, so let's get to work.